Choose thy fate and enter if you dare. Today we go back in time and revisit an age where wizards roam and dragons duel. It's Tickets Please with Austin Gould and Carson Gray. Join us today as we talk about Dueling Dragon / Dragon Challenge in Island of Adventure in Orlando, Florida. Yay, we're back. Carson, back for another episode. How you doing today?
I am doing pretty well, Austin. Thank you very much. How about you?
I'm hanging in there, brother. You know, another day, another not dollars for being unemployed, but I'm doing all right.
Another day to just be able to relaxing prep for this wonderful opportunity of a podcast episode, right?
Relax is not what I have been doing, but you know, we've been rolling. But yeah, today we're going to cover another defunct attraction. We're going to cover Dueling Dragons. And we both have been on this ride, but you went on this, and it was called Dragon's Challenge when it was themed to Harry Potter. And I went on this right before the theme changed, and so I went on Dueling Dragons. But neither one of us got the great queue experience that we'll talk about here in a bit. But that's what we'll be covering today. A couple of channel updates for you before we jump in there. We had a great episode a couple weeks ago with Braden Tanner, where we did Twilight Zone, and actually we had such a great time with Braden on, and the video did so well, and we just, the three of us are good friends, and so it was just very easy to do. So Braden's going to come on as a part-time host. You'll see him probably about once a month, and we'll try to get him in here. He's a busy man, but we'll try to get him in here at least once a month. So yeah, you guys can look forward to that, and the great chemistry that we all had together, right, Carson?
Exactly. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. I love Braden. He's so fun.
Oh yeah, he was great. Great to have on. We'll let him choose the ride next time. I made him do Tower Terror, but next time he'll get to choose.
Yeah.
We're up to 185 subscribers. Probably get up to 200 around the next week or so. But yeah, just once again, thank you. Couldn't do it without you guys and the support. Don't be afraid to leave comments and check us out and like us. We're on TikTok, YouTube. You can find us at Ticket Please Pod on TikTok or on Instagram. You can also find me at Austin Gould or Carson at RC Carson Gray?
Yes. Yep.
On Instagram. So just look for us there and then find the rest of our content. But yeah, more content to come. And next week will be the much anticipated for me Haunted Mansion episode, which will go up on Friday. Usually podcasts will go up on Saturday, but since it's Halloween on Friday, that one will go up on Friday. And you'll get a nice long chunky episode about me and Carson talking all about Haunted Mansion. But without further ado, Carson, I'll read you a little bit of the overview for the attraction that we're covering today. Sound good?
Absolutely. Let's dig in.
The ride debuted as Dueling Dragons during the grand opening of Islands of Adventure on May 28, 1999. It was located in the Lost Continent area, and the Dueling Dragon trains were named Fire and Ice. After a renovation period, the attraction reopened in March 2010. It was renamed Dragon Challenge for the Wizarding World of Harry Potter grand opening on June 18, 2010. The ride would then close September 4th, 2017, and was replaced with Hagrid's Magical Creature Motorbike Adventure on June 11th, 2019. Try saying that Hagrid's Magical Creatures Motorbike Adventure 5 times fast. It's a long name for apparently a ride that looks amazing. It looks great. Everyone who's been on it told me it's one of the best in the world. I haven't been on it. Carson hasn't been on it. But we're both excited to get on it at some point in time.
I love Hagrid, man.
Hagrid.
Love Hagrid.
So we'll get into ride experiences. So I'll go first because chronologically, I went on it before you did. I went on this ride in about, I think it was either 2009 or 2010, so right before the rebrand. Because I remember I could see Hogsmeade that they were building, but we couldn't go into it. So we got a great view of what the town was going to look like, but we couldn't it was still all walled off. But because we went up a path, you could see a little bit of it. But this ride, when I went on it, there was no queue. You were I think you were, when I was doing the research last night, I think you were queued through the back, through where the exit used to be of the ride. Because I only remember walking up a stone wall, not like a wall, but it was a path that was slightly uphill, and then it went right into the boarding area. And there was the original queue was gone. Had been deconstructed for the Harry Potter and the amazing dragons that were fighting. Carson, have you seen that picture of what the entrance used to look like with the blue and red dragon?
Yeah, it's so cool. That's definitely not what it looked like when I was there, which was a bummer. But
Yeah,
I liked that a lot. The OG
yeah.
queue.
I didn't get to see that either. So we'll talk about the queue in a little bit here because that was found out through research. But just from my experiences, I loved Harry Potter, so I was really excited for Harry Potter Land. But I had also heard all about this Dueling Dragons coaster where the coasters went off at the same time and they dueled. And so me and my dad and my sister were excited to get on it because we all like roller coasters. And my mom was not excited to get on it because she doesn't like roller coasters. So she sat this one out. I then got on the roller coaster, and I remember being very impressed by the seats because they were shaped to look like dragons, whether you were on the blue or red. They had like the outside of the seat, because it's like a hanging coaster, was a dragon face, and then like the inside, like the rests were like the tongue of the dragon, which I just thought was very interesting.
Yeah.
And I thought I love that. But then I was like not feeling good already on this day because I had like some bad motion sickness from the Incredible Hulk coaster. And then I ate some like so-so food. And so for this ride, I was just trying to hold it in until I got off the ride. And then as soon as I got off the ride, I hurled my guts up. And so that was my experience on this ride. I remember being impressed by the corkscrews. That's always my favorite part of a coaster. And of course, the dueling aspect where you feel like you're going to collide with the other people was amazing. They eventually discontinued that effect. And we'll get into that why in a little bit here. But that's kind of the long and short of it. I got like a neutered version of what used to be Dueling Dragons. But Carson got Dragon Challenge, which was themed after the first challenge in Goblet of Fire.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, and so instead of fire and ice, it's it's like the Hungarian Horntail and the Chinese Fireball.
Yeah, I think the Horntail was definitely the red one at the time. I don't remember what the blue one's name was, but it was one of the dragons from the Triwizard tournament.
Yeah. So go ahead, tell me about your experience with Dragon Challenge.
I'm a little jealous of your experience. I wish I could have done it with. I know you didn't get to see the queue, but I really wish I could have done the dueling aspect. That would have been so cool. But
yeah, that was definitely a highlight.
Yeah, but my experience, same thing with the queue. It was pretty boring. It was pretty and straightforward. Like it was just like you walk, you you walk the whole thing in a line, like without any sort of entertainment around you, and then you just got to the entranceway, and I was like, okay. But at the time that we went, I was in senior year of high school, so okay, 2015. So in 2015, which was only a couple years before it closed, actually.
Yeah, 2 years.
Yeah. We mainly there for like Diagon Alley and stuff like that. But then we saw that ride. We were like, we got to go on that ride. And so, but that day, the weather was supposed to be really bad late afternoon. So we stuck around until like mid afternoon, where there were very few people, and we got to ride both the red dragon, the fire dragon, and the ice dragon. Like on those days. But again, the queue was pretty boring, pretty straightforward, and then the ride itself was cool. Again, I wish we could have done it with the dueling aspect of it, but I understand based on what we'll get into here soon why they chose to stop that. But being able to go back to back like that because there was basically nobody in line was a really fun experience, and they are slightly different. Both of them are slightly different. I liked the red one better. I think that one had a bit more twists and flips.
Yeah, you know what? I have a little bit
ice one.
about the differences between the two later on, so I'll tell you which one you liked
Cool.
more based off that.
Whichever one had the more twists and flips, that's the one that I just remember. I thought it was the red one. I just remember liking that one a lot. I think another reason why I liked it so much is because that was my first. Is it called an inverted coaster, Austin?
Yes.
Nice, because that was my first inverted coaster experience.
Yeah, each side has 5 inversions.
That's so cool. That's so cool. And so that explains why I liked Batman so much at Six Flags, because it felt like, now that I think about it, they are very similar, very, very similar.
Yeah, this one's definitely a lot longer, but definitely the same kind of. It might be maybe the same company. The company that made this ride has made like 100 roller coasters, so it definitely could be.
That wouldn't
Um,
surprise me. But yeah, no, it was a blast. I really enjoyed the ride itself. The queue was really boring. Thankfully, we didn't have to wait too long, but the
yeah.
ride
So
was so cool.
for you, the queue would have been like you would have walked into Hogsmeade and it would have said like it's like a big like kind of like it's like a rectangle with a triangle on top that says like Dragons Challenge.
Yeah,
Uh, and then you walk through, and it looked like a pretty standard queue that was mostly that was queued through the back area of the old ride, like where the exit was, and they
yeah,
were like they had some. It looks like they had some banners up, like Cedric Diggory, Potter, like stuff for the
yeah. It
Triwizard
was
tournament.
it was pretty
Uh,
boring.
the only thing that was cool in that one was that you get to go through like the tent from the movie. It's not from the movie, but you know what I mean. Like it seemed to be for the movie, like where they're in the tent they're in before they go face their dragons, like all the champions. That was kind of cool, and they had like a little goblet of fire in the middle. Other than that, though, a pretty standard queue. This was like just like they were counting this. This ride's days were numbered when they announced the Harry Potter attraction, and they were just trying to make do with what they had for the time being.
Yeah, I personally don't remember the tent part, but I believe you. I believe
I
you that it
mean,
was
that
there.
might have not been there for you. It might have been like a slow day, so they were just like go right onto the ride.
Yeah,
Like I said, for me, I literally just remember walking up a stone path and then getting onto the ride. That was it.
yeah.
But so we were talking about the why the dueling aspect of this stopped, and so I'll get into a little bit of this history for you, Carson, and we'll have some answers for the audience. So Dragon Challenge, formerly named Dueling Dragons from 1999 to 2010, was a pair of intertwined inverted roller coasters in the Wizarding World of Harry Potter area of Islands of Adventure in Orlando, Florida, United States. Designed by Bowling and Mallard, the ride was a dueling roller coaster featuring two tracks. One side called which was the fire track originally, then changed to the Chinese Fireball, and the other, which was the Hungarian Horntail, which was the ice track, that were themed as two dragons fighting each other or chasing. It involved two trains sharing adjacent lift hills, with each traversing unique courses. Trains on the Chinese Fireball track reached a maximum speed of 60 miles an hour, while trains on the Hungarian Horntail reached 55 miles an hour. Both tracks featured 5 inversions and an identical ride duration of 2 minutes and 25 seconds. But since Carson, you were saying that you liked one more than the other, you probably like you said you liked red and the Chinese Fireball more because that one goes a little faster. That's probably why you liked it.
That's probably what it was. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Which I was like, that's weird. I wonder why they made that decision that one went faster than the other. I thought that was quite interesting when I read that.
I'm guessing to be able to time it for its big event for the dueling part of it.
So when they dueled, that's a good point. Yeah, so I wrote down some of their stats. Both have a maximum height of 125 feet. The Chinese Fireball has the first drop is 115 feet, while the Ice Dragons is only 95 feet, 60 miles an hour versus 55 miles an hour, and then they have the same length. But yeah, the red version is a little more intense. I imagine, Carson, if we went today and this ride was open in its original fashion, you would choose red and I would choose blue because that we like those colors more individually. Does that ring true for you?
I would say so. I would say so. Yeah.
Yeah, I was
I feel
thinking
like
about
you'd
that
want to
last
ride the
night.
red one though.
I would definitely ride both of them, but I would choose blue first.
Oh, fair enough. Okay. Yeah, I would definitely choose red first. I'd choose the Horntail first.
And continuing on with history, during much of this ride's history, the trains were dispatched at the same time, creating 3 near-miss encounters. We're going to get into why that they stopped doing this. Multiple incidents in 2011 involving injuries to riders who were hit with loose objects resulted in operational changes where the trains were sent off separately to avoid close encounters. That's a bummer, obviously, because you don't get the cool dueling feature, which was like the thing I remember the most. Especially, like I remember the one that you go, like you have like a loop-de-loop, and like it looks like your feet are about to like clank into each other when you're watching people do it. That was the one I remember, but that was the one that was causing issues because what would happen was around this time people were getting like the heavier smartphones, Carson,
Mm-hmm.
and when they would do the inversions, the phone would fly out of people's pockets and they would crack people in the face.
Yeah. No, I saw that when I was doing my own little research too. I was like, I mean, that makes plenty of sense. And to be fair, the park did its job by having plenty of signs being like, do not bring these loose objects onto this
Well,
ride.
they eventually made it like that you couldn't at all. They would have people with like the metal wand detectors. and like also like you had to use lockers, like you could not have any loose clothing. But that's because somebody lost an eye because
Yeah.
of one of the incidents, and so
Yeah, I
Universal took
saw
it very
that.
seriously.
I saw that one. And with that guy, with that person was already blind in the other eye. So they lost their full sight from
I did
that.
not realize that. It was tragic.
Yeah. That is a real tragedy. Yeah.
Well, they got
So
very well compensated from Universal for
they
that.
at least
But
got 30 I saw they at least got $3,700 from OSHA. So
ooh, that's not enough.
no, it's not.
God, that's not enough. I might as well.
Or no,
Well,
I'm sorry, they didn't get that. That's what Universal was fined, and I was like, that's it? So
well,
I bet
I
they got
bet there was a settlement. I bet there was a settlement.
there had to have been, especially because they hopped into surgery immediately. Like they went straight from the park to the hospital.
Yeah, and so keep it in mind, folks. Though, don't have a bunch of crap in your pockets when you're going on inversions. You don't want to lose your phone. You don't want to hurt somebody else.
Or if you do, make sure that make sure that you have them in pockets that button.
Yeah, like a button or a zipper or something. Keep that.
Yeah,
I mean, the locker system is pretty great. Easy to use. I didn't really have
it
a problem
is.
with it.
Yeah, I totally agree.
You can also rent a locker for a longer period of time. But anyway, so that happened in 2011, and then they stopped doing the dual launch at the same time. And at the in September 2017, September 4th, Universal Studios decided like, hey, this is kind of, we've changed this ride once already. We kind of think it's at the end of its lifespan. It's been around for 28 years, just about 27, 28 years. Or is that right? No, 18 years. 18 years. They were like, well, we want to make something else that is more Harry Potter themed. They scrapped the whole thing, and then they had Hagrid's Magical Creatures Motorbike Adventure installed, which opened up in 2019, so very recently. But yeah, it was a very unique attraction. Just kind of over time, due to circumstances kind of out of Universal's control, like they had to change the dual launch thing, but also choices that Universal made, like, just not keeping up with the upkeep as much, only putting so much into the queue for Dragon's Challenge. They kind of they knew that they were going to get rid of this ride, and so they kind of just put less money into it, is how it reads to me.
Yeah.
And then they eventually got rid of it with Hagrid's Motorbike Adventure, which apparently, once again, amazing ride, better than this one by all accounts. But I feel this ride, especially doing the research, holds a special place in my heart. I particularly wish it was still around for the queue and the art design in the queue, but we'll get into that a little bit. The coaster originally was situated in the Merlinwood area of the park, which was like, as the name suggests, like, a King Arthur, Merlin, fantasy land. Or not fantasy land, that's in Disney, but you know what I mean, like the fantasy themed old knights area of the park, next to, like, also in like the Lost Continent, I think. And Dueling Dragons was completed on time, premiered in 1999, and it was the only inverted dueling coaster in the world. The ride was themed to two dueling dragons. The queue was decorated as a ruined castle that the two dragons had destroyed. Once the riders arrived at the station, they choose which of the two coasters they would like to experience, the Fire Dragon or the Ice Dragon. The original name for the Dueling Dragons was going to be Merlin's Dueling Dragons, and the dragons both had names. The Ice Dragon was called Blizzrock, and the Red Dragon, which was fire, was called Pyrock, like pyro. So kind of cool. But then it changed over to Dragon Challenge in 2011, and it would be renamed Dragon Challenge. It would be themed to the Harry Potter Goblet of Fire section, where they're fighting the dragons, kind of. I mean, a very loose theming, like a lot of the imagination's going in here.
Yeah,
it was kind
a
of just
lot
like
of imagination.
Yeah, you just kind of like hop on the same ride vehicle before, and then you're like, I guess we're in the Harry Potter world. So that's like what makes you think of it. But yeah, kind of just a pretty unique coaster. I really like the story about it. In Carson's corner, coming up here in just a sec, we'll have him read the story that Merlin would say to you when you entered it. But before that, so you were in Merlinwood, which was themed to be, medieval times. This ride had a beautiful outdoor facade that was the dragons fighting each other. They look like they're screaming at each other, like they're yelling at each other in a crosswalk. But it was a beautiful sculpture of a red and blue dragon. And when you were walking up to the entrance, behind it, you could see the coaster, but you could see not just the coaster, but every time the coasters dueled, which they had 3 times. So you saw like the loop-de-loop, the corkscrew, and like the one other time they come close. And you could see that from the entrance, which is just a really cool like synergy design aspect that probably took a lot of effort, and it's just kind of neat. So I don't know if you knew that, Carson, but pretty cool.
No, I didn't know that. I knew you could for sure see the loop-de-loop part. I didn't know you could see the
But
other
yeah,
2 parts. That's really cool.
but yeah, Carson, if you're ready, go ahead. And this is, I did not write this. This is from the actual ride. This is what Merlin would say when you were like, this was on, it was like a, what do I want to say? Like an animation on a pane glass. And this would be the audio you would hear. So hit us when you're ready.
Shattered glass, crumbled stones. What is now hallowed and ruined was, in distant days past, a castle, so fair beyond words that a sorcerer of great renown here settled, to pass in peace with the twilight of his years, until they came. Descended like a winged curse, a twin plague of demonic dragons. The king's army quickly fell, and then, in desperation, the entire kingdom turned to the sorcerer. Alas, he was too old to long oppose fiends so fierce and powerful. And so the castle fell, its riches plundered, its land scorched, and its people scattered like ash upon the wind. To this day, the dragons remain. Asterisk. And so too the sorcerer, to discourage foolish knaves such as yourselves, yearning for a chivalrous challenge, such as a ride upon dueling dragons. How do I come to tell this tale? My name is Merlin.
That was excellent. Big round of applause for
Oh,
Carson
thank
there.
you. Bow,
I was
bow,
like
bow, bowing, bow.
I was reading it along while you were saying it, and I was like, I would have got caught up there. Like I could feel my fat tongue in my mouth like tripping me up as I would have read that. So I appreciate it.
Happy
But
to
yeah,
do it, man.
that's kind of the story. It's kind of like these 2 dragons showed up. I think in the queue they talk about like how like knights tried to fight it, but it didn't work, and so like Merlin was trying to dissuade people from fighting the dragons, and so I think he like turned them into a coaster or some shit. But it's just kind of like a nice little thing. Well, I'll talk about the queue now, though, which is like the biggest like bummer for me that it's not around anymore. So like I said, me and Carson did not get to experience this queue in person. We could only experience through the magic of the internet. But thanks to a couple of great videos online that showcase the queue, it was just an amazing queue. You walk through like a degraded castle, but you walk in, like the first thing you see is Merlin's spellbook. You're then walking through like different parts of like the castle that have been destroyed by the dragons. Throughout the castle, you find like bones of humans, but also in a very metal. You see like the bodies of knights that the dragons have killed. Some like all melty and like burned because they got by the fire dragon, or some like frozen in ice. And they're like hanging from the ceiling. They're like there's like even a rhyme that like Merlin has, like you can go find. But it's so cool. I don't know if the dragons are stringing the knights. Jesus, pardon me. Let me try that again. I don't know if the knights are stringing, or the dragons are stringing the knights up, like decorating their own castle. I don't know who's putting them there. I just think it's awesome that in like a amusement park that is essentially for kids, this ride is like, no, these knights died. They fucking got frozen to death. They got melted. Here, they're dead bodies. Do you want to be like them? Listen to Merlin. I think that's so bitchin'. What did you think about the queue, Carson, when you saw it?
When I watched it, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, no, I watched that too. It was so cool. That one was also very immersive. I'm trying to think of the last one I said that was very immersive. What was the one that in one of the previous episodes I said another one was really immersive. It was very similar, um, in feeling to that. And that was just from watching the video. There's one
Yeah.
point where you're looking down one of the lines of the queue, and it looks like it's 2 lights, but it looks like, dragon's eyes looking straight at you from straight ahead. I was like, whoa, that's so cool. And then they have all these different little like Easter eggs and details and messages written on the walls at some spots, and I'm like, wow, this is awesome. And then yeah, the once brave knights who tried their best to fight these 2 dragons, and they met their fate. They met their fate from these dragons.
Yeah, it's just so cool though. I was like, I was extremely impressed with the queue, and I was very sad that I'll never be able to walk through it because I was just amazed by it. It was like Indiana Jones level of theming. Like I felt like it was completely on point. I love all like the weird Easter eggs and the knights. There's like the pre-show bit that Carson read that was on like some what's the word I'm looking for, Carson? What's like the church glass called?
Oh, uh, stained glass.
Yeah, yeah. So it was like stained glass, and like that audio would play over it as like the stained glass would change the background. But just
That's cool.
amazing. I love. I'm a big castle guy anyway. Like I love like medieval is like my favorite time period. Like for like movie like fantasy medieval stuff, I love it. Like Game of Thrones, Lord of the Rings, all that jazz. I'm just a sucker for it. And so like Disney has its castles, but they're like princessy castles. They're not like this. And Universal doesn't have this anymore either, and it's just there's a missed opportunity here. I like how the parks are currently. They're very IP based though, both of them, and I don't mind that at all. That's definitely the way things are going. But there's something lost. Yeah, it does it in 24-minute increments, but I'm all good. There's something lost when everything has to be IP based, and you can't just have like an original idea because this one is an original idea, so they're not beholden to anything but themselves. And so the queue and the design of it can be whatever they want. And there's just a lot of creativity that goes with that. And I know people love Hagrid's, and I'm sure I will too. I love Hagrid, and I love Harry Potter, and the ride looks amazing. But I love the creative juice that this ride oozed with. And it was only around for 18 years. That is not a long time. 1999 to 2017. That is not that long of a time for
That is not, especially
freaking
for a kick-ass ride like this one.
yeah, kick-ass ride. And freaking Screaming Eagle's been around for like what did we say, 60 years?
Yeah,
Like goddamn.
going on.
Like I wish that was like I'll get to this in the good, the bad, the ugly, but I just was very impressed by the queue. I would honestly just take the queue back. Like if we could just have that in part of the park somewhere, just give me like a big castle walkthrough that's like weird and dungeony. Put a show in there or something. I'm a big fan. You can make it a dark ride or something. I don't know. I just was like I was very bummed when I was going through the queue because I didn't see the queue. If I had seen the queue when I was a kid, I would have still. I guarantee you, it would have stayed with me. It would be my favorite queue I've ever seen because it looked amazing.
Yeah, same here. My gosh, I really wish I could have seen it in person.
Yeah,
I was really jealous.
yeah, and then so I'll get into the good, the bad, the ugly here. But the good I have for this ride, Carson, I have the entryway's awesome. The two dragons looking like they're yelling at each other. I love this. In the ride, you get to choose which color or dragon you want to be on. And there's a great choose thy fate sign. And it's like you go left for blue and right for red or vice versa. The queue is amazing, as I've already said. I like that it has like a fun, kind of weird story about Merlin. The dueling system was awesome when it was active. And the ride vehicles are great with the dragon face. How about for you?
Yeah, I think it's excellent, and I agree. That's a good point about the creative part of it. Is like even though the Hagrid ride is there, like you still have to stick within the Wizarding World
Right.
realm. You can't go out and explore more in a fantastical like setting that you'd want to create for something like they did with this queue. And they hit a home run with it too. So,
Yeah,
um,
exactly.
an Otani home run. It was an Otani home
Oh,
run. It wasn't
God, I do
just
not
any
want that.
homer.
It's World Series time, folks. I do not want the Dodgers to win. Uh,
Oh, Austin's a Dodgers hater.
I'm a
I'm not.
Dodgers hater.
Go good. Let's go, Otani.
Oof.
Anyway, the queue. It was excellent.
Yeah, Q is just amazing. Like I said, like the Hagrid
I
ride
want
has
that
like
book. I want his spell book. I want to steal his spell
yeah,
book so
Spellbook
bad.
is awesome. Uh, you know, the Hagrid one has a great design, but it's like I said, like if it's like you get a canvas, but it's like bordered, and so you only have so much room to paint in. Where it's something like this, you just have like it's endless, and so it can be whatever you want it to be. But that's enough. I don't want to hit on it too much. The bad for this ride, I have the track layout leaves something to be desired, and what I mean is not the layout of like the roller coaster. I thought that was pretty awesome, but the theming of the actual roller coaster bit, like I thought, like when it's after you load and you're going up the lift hill, you know what I'm talking about, Cars?
Yes, I do. Yes.
That part of the ride looks like Jurassic Park. Like it looks like Jurassic Park. Like you're getting like loaded behind the raptor cages. It doesn't look anything like a castle. There's like metal everywhere. It's weird. I didn't like that theming. I'm being nitpicky. It's a roller coaster. It has to work actually, but it was just a little nitpicky. And then the other bad I have is that this ride doesn't exist. That was my other bad. Oh, what about you?
Yeah. Okay. So my bad would be are we sticking with like the original ride, or can I also speak on my personal
No,
experience
talk
with it?
about Yeah, talk about Dueling Dragons or Dragon's
Dragon's
Challenge.
Challenge. The bad was so my good was for the original queue, not for the Dragon's Challenge queue. The Dragon's Challenge queue sucked. I'm not counting that as bad though, because I don't even want to give it attention. The bad for me on that one was that they were not going at the same time. The with the rides
Yeah,
having to be. I get it. I understand those injuries. It's important to not have those injuries. It's a shame that it happened that way. But that takes away the point of the ride in the first place, which is to have those dueling moments together. Um, and
yeah,
so
absolutely.
so that's that one for me.
They also got away with it though because it wasn't called Dueling Dragons anymore. It was called Dragon's Challenge.
Yeah, yeah,
So they
exactly.
were like slip it in there. I also forgot to mention that the this ride got up to about 32,000 people an hour, which is a really high capacity, and the average wait time that I could find on ThrilledData.com was only 35 minutes. That's really a really short wait time for a roller coaster.
Yeah, that is.
I'll find most of the roller coasters wait a long time. The longest was only 2 hours even. And I know Hagrid's can get up to like 4 hours, 5 hours even today. So that's pretty good. 35 minutes for this ride. That sounds like a deal to me.
Yeah.
Oh, and then in the good, the bad, the ugly for the ugly section, I wrote the lift hill area looks like Jurassic Park and not ye old times. So
Oh,
I
yeah.
hit that one on the head twice.
Yeah, you really didn't like that.
I did not like that. Oh, and then the other ugly I have is where is the old art? This is my question for Universal. Where is this stuff? Where's the? Did you like for people who know? Did they just destroy the sculpture of the dragons? Do they have the dragons somewhere? Like, are they just in a warehouse somewhere waiting to be used or waiting to never be used? Where's the choose thy fate sign? Where's the knights? Where's all this cool ass shit? Does it just get destroyed? Does it get repurposed? What happens to it? If you know that, let me know in the comments. I would love to know what happens to the old stuff and attractions because I want to have a house and I'm going to have this dragon statue in front of my house.
So Austin can buy it. Exactly. Now we know
Yeah,
why he wants to
let me
know.
know. I want to know. Couple of fun facts for you here, Carson. As you walked in, we talked about it. There's Merlin's spellbook. You can read that. There's like Fireball in there and stuff. Pretty cool. From the entrance, you can see like all the spots where the dragons duel. Like I said, the legacy of this ride. There's a couple of tributes. One is in a tribute to Dragon's Challenge and Dueling Dragons can be found in the queue for Hagrid's. And the mural features there's like a mural on the wall as you exit, and and the mural features a fire and ice dragons and a message saying Dueling Club. That's a fun little reference.
That's cool.
In Velocicoaster, there's a part where they recreate the two dragons yelling at each other, but with raptors.
Is that what that is?
Flying. Yeah, it's like a little homage to it. They're in the same positions. It's hard to pick out when you're on the ride because you're going 1,000 miles an hour. But it is there.
That's cool. I watched a video of the Velocicoaster and heard them screeching at each other.
Yeah, there's no way you'd be able to pick it up on video. I only know of it because I saw a still image.
That's cool.
But cool nonetheless. And then this one was particularly cool for me because I just did Halloween Horror Nights in Orlando in 2023. They did a haunted house featured on this ride called Dueling Dragons Choose Thy Fate Haunted House. And the house, the story of it takes place before the ride where guests go in. I don't know if this is canonical. They made it, so I don't know. But it also doesn't matter whether it is or not. It's just kind of fun. But you go in, and there's like a bunch of ice and fire mages everywhere. And the fire wizard Pyrock and the ice wizard Blizzrock are fighting to get control of Merlin's spellbook. Merlin's like cursed to be an oak tree for some reason. And he's like, but eventually the two wizards get to the spellbook. Turns out Merlin put a curse on the book, which turns them into dragons. Hence how we get on the ride. Merlin then appears at the end. And he's like, good job. You saved everything. If you pick the right way, like there's another like choose thy fate. If you went on the ice path, Merlin shows up and he's like, good job. You saved the kingdom. If you go on the fire path, the fire wizard is holding Merlin's beheaded head. And he's like, you killed the kingdom, which is cool. I watched the haunted house. It didn't look like a great haunted house. I'll be honest. Like, it didn't look like anyone was getting scared at all. But I just and they had some of the knights from the queue. The knight that was frozen and strung across the rafters. Rafters, not raptors. He was like strung up and he was frozen in ice. He was there, and so I'm like, they still have this stuff, and they're still thinking about Dueling Dragons. If Universal was like, it came out tomorrow and they were like, 2027 Dueling Dragons is back at the new park down at Epic Universe. Like only like 5,000 people would get excited, but I would be like, but those 5,000 people would come to the parks Universal. So do it. Bring this ride back for me and Carson, and we can high five each other as we duel on opposite tracks. Him on red, me on blue.
Exactly, and kiss a little bit.
And kiss a little bit, just a quick smooch as we fly by each other. But yeah, that's it for the fun facts. Anything else, Carson, before we hop into the tickets please-o-meter?
I'm ready to hop into this tickets please-o-meter, my good man.
All right, let's do it. As a reminder, the test now consists of 10 questions, which are now pass or fail. The tickets at the end will be scored, and the scoring system is as follows. If it gets 1 point, it's tickets discontinued. 2 to 3, tickets trashed. 4 to 5, tickets tolerated. 6 to 7, tickets appreciated. 8 to 9, tickets treasured. 10, tickets pleased. We haven't got there yet, but one day we will. First question. Oh, go ahead, Carson.
Oh, I was just going to say, there will come a day where we hit a 10.
We have a perfect 10. It might be next week, Haunted Mansion. You'll never know. Unless you watch the episode, come back for it. Question number 1. To all that come to this happy place test. Can your grandma get on this ride? Can a small kid get on this ride? Are there limitations? This is an old ride. Pretty hard to find like accessibility things for this ride. I couldn't really find anything that was like clear and cut for that because there's too many different versions of this ride as well. I would say your grandma cannot get on this ride definitively because there's too many inversions. And I would also say a small kid couldn't get on this ride because it's just a pretty intense inversion roller coaster with 5 inversions. I mean, I got sick when I went on it, and I was like 14 or whatever, how old I was, 13, 14, something like that. So for this one, I'm going to give it a light fail. What about you, Carson?
Yeah, I'll give it a fail too, honestly. Yeah, I mean, you already hit the points that I was going to hit, so yeah, light fail.
Light fail. Okay, hold on. Number 2, the shake, rattle, and roll test. What is the ride physically like? What's its top speed? If it's aiming to be thrilling, does it succeed? Does it cause any discomfort? Does it fulfill its purpose? This was a flying colors pass for me. The ride is physically just like a very like intense roller coaster. I love the corkscrew bits. There's like 3 or 4 of them. Those are always my favorite parts of the roller coaster. The red goes up to 60 miles an hour. The blue goes up to 55 miles an hour. It does aim to be thrilling. It does succeed. I don't remember being in discomfort outside of what I was already feeling, but that wasn't the ride's fault. And for me, it fulfilled its purpose wonderfully. And they even replaced it with a roller coaster showing that like this area of the park needed a roller coaster. So that's a pass for me. What about you, Carson?
Definitely a pass for me. It was a comfortable. I actually remember it being a comfortable seat. I didn't feel like I was getting. What's the term that you said for when they strap you in?
Stapled.
Stapled. Yeah, I did not feel stapled in. I felt snug and safe. It was a really good experience. So I'm giving it a solid
because this
pass.
one is. Yeah, you get like the overarm thing, so it's like you wouldn't get stapled on this one anyway because you get the inversions, and you kind of want to be tucked in. But yeah, it feels great. But moving on to number 3, enter the Quniverse test. What is the average wait time? How good is the queue experience? Does the queue have interactive elements to entertain? Carson, go ahead. You go first. Are you gonna? I assume you're gonna rate this based off the one you went on, which was Dragon's Challenge.
Yes, I'll rate it off of that one.
So so for the whole test, you do Dragon's Challenge, and I'll do Dueling Dragons.
Cool.
And at the end, we'll compare.
Cool. Okay, I like that. All my statements still stand up to this point for the past 2 that we've done. And so for the queue for this one, hard fail, absolutely disgusting fail. It was not memorable, clearly, because earlier I said I don't even remember the tent part of it. It was in the midst of like preparing to be broken down and built into Hagrid's new ride. So, yeah, they were not planning to do anything new with it anytime soon. So hard fail on my experience.
Yep, makes total sense. Even though I didn't get to go on the queue for this ride was world class, and it might have even been better than the ride itself, in my opinion. just because of how cool it looked and just the amazingness of it. So for me, that's the complete opposite, and that's a pass. But I'm doing Dueling Dragons, and you're doing Dragons Challenge, so it makes sense that we split there. Oh, the next test will be interesting. We'll see how it goes. To Infinity and Beyond test. Does this ride create a world beyond itself? Can it be adapted into other media? How popular is it? Has it created a legacy? So for the how popular is it, is unfortunately it wasn't that popular. People didn't really go on it towards the end of its lifespan, except the last year when they announced it was closing. But before that, people weren't really getting on it too much. So it wasn't super popular, but it definitely has a legacy among part people. We all love this ride. We love to talk about it. It was technically adapted into other media for the Haunted House, for Dueling Dragons, and it did create a world beyond itself for like the Merlin story and everything. So for Dueling Dragons, I think this is a light pass. What do you think about my pass on that one, Carson?
Yeah, I would agree with your light pass on that. For your experience specifically, that's a good point. Like
Mm-hmm.
when we went on it, it wasn't as popular. When it first, I saw that when it first opened though, that one was really popular. The people were really
Yeah, oh
liking
yeah,
it
it had its heyday.
when it was doing the dueling part of it. But since we're going based off of our personal experiences, um, I'm actually gonna give mine a light fail
Yeah,
because yeah, it just didn't have nearly the same kind of even then it didn't have the same kind of stuff that yours had. So yeah,
yeah, definitely not as popular. It didn't create a legacy like Dragon's Challenge doesn't have
no,
a legacy, and it has not been used otherwise because it was kind of like they were kind of like co-opting like and like bastardization of a story with that one.
right. And
So that makes sense.
I feel like it's a lost gem, honestly.
Oh, I totally agree. Especially doing the research for this, I was like, God damn it, I wish this was still around.
Yeah, I hope they find another place to build it.
Oh, well, I'll tell you what. This next one's going to be a fail for both of us. The downtime test. How has the ride adapted over time?
Oh,
Does it experience frequent downtime? Is it difficult to get on? Well, it's impossible to get on, so that's an automatic fail for both of us.
yeah, yep.
That's unfortunate, but that's why we have the objective test. Definitely not subjective. Didn't just make it up. Number 6. Oh God, the past, present, and future test. Does the ride have staying power? Will it be around in 10 years? Will it be around in 20 years? Will the IP remain relevant? Is it likely to be replaced? That is like the hardest fail. That was like all 5 of those sub questions. It was like no, 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 no. Will it be replaced? Yes.
Yes. Oh God, this
Yep. So
automatic no.
hey, that's what happens for these defunct attractions. Though that's what happens. That's why we still have to be honest and give them a fair critique, Carson.
Yeah, the score's not looking too good for this one so far.
Not on your side. Mine's all right. Uh, Number 7, Mel Brooks test, merchandising. Would you buy merchandise from this ride? If yes, what? Does it translate well into sales? I would buy anything from this ride.
Yeah, I would.
I would literally buy anything.
Yeah, same. I like that. I feel like it'd be so cool to have a Dueling Dragon shirt or even I don't like the name. I think the name is lame when they changed it to Dragon's Challenge. But that's my ugly, by the way. Reverting back to that really quick. That's my answer for ugly. Uh, God, I hated that name. So stupid.
Very lame.
They probably did their best to like stick with the Wizarding World theme, but they might have gotten into trouble with like copyright issues if they called it like Try Wizard Challenge or something like that. So
well, I mean, yeah, because they sold the rights, so it would have been. I think that this is what probably happens. They probably were like in their heads. They were like, "What's it called?" It's like Task 1, right? But if they called it Try Wizard Tournament Task 1, like that's a bad name. And then it doesn't get the dragon in it. And then you're like, well, Try Wizard Tournament Dragon Challenge. That's a better name, but it's too long.
It's very long.
And so they were like Dragon's Challenge. But that's my favorite part. I mean, maybe not my favorite part. I like that whole section of the book, or the whole book rather, and the movie. But I love the dragon scene. And so I would buy like a little replica. That'd be fun.
God, I would love that. I would love a replica.
Yeah.
I would love a little. I would love a hat. I would love Merlin's hat or a spell book.
Oh, that's a good one. Oh, dude, Merlin's hat. Oh, come on. That's like printing money. I would buy that. Universal, get on it. Come on.
That'd be so fun.
Chop, chop. You $1 billion company. Listen to me. Well, that's a pass for both of us. Number 8, Top Gunning for more tests. I forgot to mention this up top, but we talked about it a little bit. Each ride offered a unique experience. So if you went on the red path, it was different than the blue path, vice versa. So that will factor into this next test. which was, does Top Gunning for more tests, does the ride offer enough to justify multiple rides? Are people excited after riding? Is the excitement noticeable in line? I think that's a pass. That's a pass for Dueling Dragons for sure, because the two different tracks, people were definitely excited about, almost like, feeling like you were going to collide with each other, and you could definitely feel that anticipation building in the line. What about you, Carson? What about Dragon's Challenge?
Not as strong, obviously, because you didn't have the dueling the
The
simultaneous
duel.
riding. But I'll still give it a light pass because both, even though I liked the red one more than the blue one, both rides were both coasters in and of themselves were able to like sustain that thrill throughout
Yeah,
the ride. So a light
agreed.
pass.
Agreed. Test number 9. A ghost will follow you home test. Does the ride linger in your thoughts days later? Would you recommend it to others? I'll tell you what, I always thought about this ride because I was like, the dueling aspect was so cool to me, and I liked the red versus blue thing. And then doing research on it, I have not been able to stop thinking about this ride. I would love to be able to get back on this ride. I would love to be able to walk through the queue. I was jealous about the haunted house. I bet they had some merch there. So for me, that's a pass. What about you for Dragon's Challenge, Carson?
Yeah, no, that's an easy pass for me. I've thought about it ever since I wrote it, ever since that day. Really, like it still crosses into my mind. Like something would
Yeah.
remind me of it and be like even like a heavy rainy day where I live, I'm like, wow, this reminds me of the rainfall on the day that I rode the I called it the Twin Dragons at the time, but I know it's not, that's nowhere near what the actual names are, obviously. But I was just that's what would pop into my head. I was like, I remember riding that ride, and
Hey, still a better name than Dragon's Challenge.
I think maybe they should have gone with that, Twin Dragons.
Hey, I think I'm right there with you. Yeah, I think that's completely correct. But yeah, moving on to our last test, the tickets please priority test. Is this experience worth planning your day around? Would you wait twice the average time to ride? If you don't ride, will your day have been worse? This is, obviously a contentious question always. I don't know how I feel about this one. Would I wait average the time to ride? So would I wait, what would that be, an hour and 10 minutes? Yeah, I would wait an hour and 10 minutes to ride it once if I hadn't before. If it is a roller coaster. The queue is amazing. For me, because I'm speaking about Dueling Dragons and it has that amazing queue, I think this is a pass, because I think if you don't, now that I didn't get to do the queue, looking back on it now, because it wasn't, it was destroyed by the time I got there or taken down or whatever, I'm like, oh, I missed that. I wish I would have got the chance to go on it. So I think it would have been worth planning my day around. So for me, for Dueling Dragons specifically, that's a pass.
That's totally fair. That is totally fair. I I will give it a light fail. So I'm still gonna say no to it,
Mm-hmm.
but I would still recommend it. Being like, here's the history of it. Here, like, it doesn't work this way anymore. But the actual coaches themselves, I still recommend writing those specifically if it was still around. Would I say plan your day around it? No. If it was Dueling Dragons, definitely. But for Dragons Challenge, if you can make it, go check it out because that ride's pretty sick. The inverted coaster's pretty sick. But
Yeah, and well, what was it? It was Dueling Dragons was around for 12 years, and Dragon's Challenge was around for 6. So that should tell you a little something as well. All right, go ahead and tally yourself up there, Carson.
all right, I believe I only got 4.
Yep, that was what I had down for you as well. I
That ooh,
I had 10 for Dueling Dragons. So
wow.
the thing that is interesting about your score is everything that involved just the roller coaster. You were like, yeah, absolutely, it's great. But anything else, you were like, because it didn't fit, and they knew it didn't fit in Harry Potter World either. That's why they got rid of it. It was just like too asymmetric. But it got a 7 out of 10 for Dueling Dragons, which feels good. So for me, that's tickets appreciated. For you, that's tickets tolerated, and that feels right.
Yeah. Yep, I would agree.
That feels right. So yeah, let us know what you think down in the comments if you disagree with us, what have you. Let me know about what the hell they do with the cool stuff that they don't have in queues anymore. But I think that was a pretty fair test. Feel 7 out of 10 is good for dueling. I feel like that's very apt. It can't be perfect because it doesn't exist anymore, so it obviously have flaws. And I think 4 out of 10 for like a weird kind of like I said, bastardization of a concept is good for you as well. It doesn't mean it's bad. Tickets tolerated. It means you got on it and you enjoyed it, but it left something to be desired. Like you did not like the queue, so I think that works.
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely.
But that will do it for us today, folks, on this episode. We had a great time discussing Dueling Dragons. We'll be back next week on Halloween to discuss my favorite attraction of all time, the Haunted Mansion. So look forward to that. Carson, any word for the people before we let them go?
Yes. Quick little tidbit of news. This Saturday, because I'm guessing is this releasing Friday, Austin?
This will be Saturday morning.
This will be Saturday morning. Okay, so day of the release of this episode, I am going with my wife and my good friend Alec to Six Flags in Gurnee for Fright Fest. So I will make sure to bring back after the Haunted Mansion episode. We'll talk about my experiences with all that, and I'll be sure to send Austin photos and give my personal experiences and ratings on certain things that we do. So yeah, it should be a blast.
Yeah, well, actually, we'll talk about that next week before the Haunted Mansion stuff. We can cut like a separate episode. That'd be fun.
Sounds good.
But yeah, so if you're a fan, look out for Carson. He's a big, beautiful, tall, handsome boy. And
that's very flattering, Austin. Thank you.
You can see him at. Big personality wise, not weight wise. By the way, internet, don't be mean.
Little bit of both.
No, so look out for him there. But yeah, thanks again for listening, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you all. Take care.